Pick Me Up is a mobile game with the goal of reaching the 100th floor of the tower by powering up your heroes and using strategy and tactics to clear the tower. Heroes have from 1 star to 7 stars, but our protagonist Han Seo-jin is a guy with terrible luck. Despite thousands of paid gacha pulls, he has never gotten a hero over 5 stars. So upon seeing a special event that has a chance of dropping an item that can make 7 stars, he joins. He sends out a recon team because Pick Me Up has some hardcore rules where if your heroes die even once, they cannot be revived. Han Seo-jin's entire party immediately feel fear before a shadowy figure at level 999 kills them all. Thinking it's a bug, he gets shocked when the menacing boss stares at him through the screen as he blacks out. Seeing system notifications of an account creation, he tries to answer, but the system ignores him and enters someone else's answers. Entering a tutorial, the system explains the backstory of Han Islat as our protagonist finds himself in a destroyed small town up in flames. Quickly accepting this absurd reality, he begins fighting the invading goblins to complete the tutorial quest. Clearing the stage, Han levels up and is transported to a familiar scene from Pick Me Up. Before he can grasp the situation, the system begins a high rank summon, and the 4-star hero Shay materializes before him as Han questions if he too was summoned. With the system's advice, the master of this account, Anything, places the two in a party and sends them into dungeon after dungeon, leaving Shay to hard carry Han as the gap in skill and stats is just too overwhelming. With only the final tutorial stage left, a way to enhance heroes called Synthesis is unlocked, and the master decides to synthesize his 2 heroes. Hesitating to enter, a fairy who manages the system appears to force him inside, but Han calls her a cell, shocking her. She comes to realize that he doesn't look like Han Islat and comes from Earth, but still forces him inside. Synthesis enhances heroes by combining them, sacrificing one to enhance the other. Panicking because a normal player has 0 reason to kill off Shay, a 4-star, and leave himself a 1-star, he prepares for death. But Shay ends up getting sacrificed, saying "I'll leave it to you," with a gentle smile before turning into light. Han thanks his luck at the stupid master's misclick since it's a drag and drop feature. Time passes and we see Han introducing himself to a group of strangers, claiming to be a clueless farmer named Han Islat. As the confused group discuss what's happening, Cell appears and tells them the master has opened a crack in time and space, so they should get ready to fight. The group begins to argue with Cell, and a 2-star hero amongst the group charges towards her but gets cut down. As everyone shrinks in fear, she states anyone who touches her will die. The master forms a party of 5 heroes, but before they can be sent in, Han convinces Cell they should be given weapons as compensation for killing a powerful 2-star hero. She sends a tip to the master through the system, and the master summons some weapons. Noticing his collected nature, Han catches the eye of the 1-star hero Jenna, who grew up in a remote forest, and asks him a bunch of questions. The first party of 5 is sent into the gate with a series of system messages appearing moments later, announcing their return to the goddess's embrace. With party 1 annihilated, a new party is formed of the 5 left, and they enter the gate. Arriving in a temple-like place, they are then sent into the main dungeon of the 1st floor. On the 1st floor, they are surrounded by goblins, and the system tells them their mission is to kill all the goblins. Telling the others to fight or else they'll die, Han curses, seeing 3 of the party members fleeing in terror. All party members except Han enter a state of fear. Stopped by an invisible wall, they realize they are trapped in this battlefield. Han calls them pathetic, but gathering herself, Jenna asks Han if they stand a chance, whilst the others claw at the invisible wall. Jenna says her dad was a hunter, so she knows how to use a bow, and Han tells her to shoot arrows at them as he fights up front, and to ignore the others. Han has never wielded a sword or shield, but steels himself and engages in a bloody battle with the goblins. In the middle of the battle, Han gets attacked from behind and thinks about the level 999 bugged monster that dragged him here. Declaring it messed with the wrong person, he counterattacks with fury, completing the mission and leveling up whilst earning MVP. The game has almost no player control with combat, since the heroes do the combat automatically, but the reason the game has 1 million downloads is because you get to view the world like a god, whilst crafting items using strategy and tactics and hero ascension. Han Seo-jin was one of these players and was called the Master of Masters, 5th ranked player, Loki. Back in the base, he completely accepts that he was summoned as a 1-star hero from birth and decides if he is to survive and not be compounded or die in battle, he must train as hard as possible to make up for a 1-star's pathetic stats and low growth rate. Seeing his intense training, Jenna approaches him and decides to train alongside him, saying she won't be a burden. Looking at her stats, Han determines that she has potential and mental toughness and decides to help her. With a handshake, the system states Jenna feels goodwill toward him, and they receive an intimacy bonus that gives them bonus stats when in a party with another hero. Han then calls out to his cell, and she appears in a huff. She says that she won't be telling him anything and that if he wants answers, he should climb the tower. Ignoring her, he asks if he is the only one who can see the stats window above her head, and deduces from her reactions that he is the only one who can see the game messages and Master's forged messages. He then asks what happens if the Master quits, to which she replies, "Just pray he doesn't." Asking if the time here is different to Earth, Estelle angrily replies that she won't answer him, but reading her again, he determines time is different here and thanks her. Despite her rage, she can only interfere in self-defense and when the Master's orders are disobeyed. Jenna wonders what they are talking about, and Han explains that they have to clear 100 floors of the tower and must complete the orders and missions the Master gives them, and that the Master can summon other people as well, ultimately leaving their lives in the hands of Master. After completing a day of training, Han discovers some rules about this world. Daily needs and food are refilled the next day, and if you imagine something you would like to have, it appears in a drawer or closet, but guns and similar things don't work. He also notices that training doesn't increase stats or level, instead it refines skill learning and skills in general. After 3 days of training, Master logged back in which time Han had got 2 skills, low rank swordsmanship and low rank shield techniques. The Master summons 3 new heroes, all 1-stars, and Jenna tells them to get ready to fight as she and Han grab their weapons. Not listening to Jenna's words, Estelle forces the newbies inside the gate, and they arrive on floor 2 with the goal of killing all enemies. The 3 newbies immediately get feared, and even Jenna gets affected, but with a prod in the side from Han, she resists her fear. Telling Jenna to take the goblins, Han runs forward and stabs a wolf, but it doesn't die in one strike because his weapon is shit. Even so, he finishes it off before another charges him, biting down on his shield. Forcing it back, he then slashes its neck, killing it. Turning to check on the goblins, he finds them looking like hedgehogs, thanks to Jenna's arrows. Clearing this stage, Jenna levels up and Han is named MVP. Arriving back in the base, the party is about to be sent straight to the 3rd floor, but to Han's relief, the Master logs off. Han figures out that time flows 3 times faster in this world, so next time they can log in should be in 3 days. Now level 6, Han's intelligence decreased 1, but in return strength increased by 2, with a total of 4 gained stats from the level up. He notes his leveling efficiency has increased, so his physique must have improved. Watching the newbies yell at Jenna, he notes that 1-stars are commoners and disposable, whilst 2-stars are mercenaries with some fighting experience, and high-ranking heroes are different and start fighting right away, making Han wonder if they know why they are summoned, thinking that Shay would have known based on her behavior. Telling the others they don't need to fight next time, and just he and Jenna will. One of them grabs Han by the collar, but Han punches him in the face and states that they were doing nothing while he and Jenna were bleeding. Walking off, Jenna giggles at Han's actions, and the two go back to training, with Han leveling his 2 skills to level 2, but the 3 others never showed up, opting to look for an escape. While sparring, one of Jenna's arrows hit Han in the leg, worrying her, but he reassures her not to, as all injuries in this place are restored, unlike the real world. Earning a new skill, pain tolerance, he and Jenna continue their grueling training, and Han's sword and shield skills combine to form basic sword shield techniques level 3. With the Master's return, Jenna and Han prepare themselves, whilst Estelle has to force the 3 into the gate once more. On floor 3, their goal is to subjugate all enemies, and taking the lead, Han charges forward with Jenna backing him up from range. Easily clearing the stage, Jenna levels up and gets MVP. With the two sharing thoughts on the fight and the others, he notes it doesn't matter since he doesn't want to share XP with those bastards. Following a tip from the system, the Master makes them repeat some of the floors, tiring the pair out as they do all the fighting. Annoyed at the 3's lack of action, the Master opens the synthesis feature. You see, even though small events happen outside the screen, it's not like the Master is totally unaware of it. The Master can see who's fighting in front and contributing and who's being lazy. Favoriting Jenna and Han, the Master sends Jenna and Elson into the synthesis center, but Elson begins to panic and pleads to Han. However, he just coldly stares at him and tells him even if he couldn't fight, things would be different if he had just tried, and that they're sick of cleaning up after them. Forced inside, he gets compounded, and Jenna exits the center with a level up and new skill, Eagle Eye. Confused at what happened, Han explains that in this place, you useless people get sacrificed, and faces the remaining two saying it will be his turn next. Wonder who it will be. Exiting the center, Han levels up and gains the skill Composure and tells the remaining guy, Aaron, he got lucky. Realizing she could end up like that if she becomes useless, Jenna becomes anxious, and Han tells her that as they climb, they'll either die in battle or get sacrificed, and she should follow her father's words and stand on the right side. The next day in the training ground, Jenna bows to Han and reaffirms her desire to be on his side, declaring, I'll be in your care, and Han replies, you won't die as long as you do what's required, so don't worry. Then Aaron also appears and begs for Han's help, apologizing for how he acted. Han tells him that he also didn't know how to fight when he arrived, but he's determined to fight to survive. Throwing him a spear, he tells him that it's one of the easiest weapons to use, and now their three-man party consists of a melee, mid, and long range, giving them perfect balance. Ordering him to fight him, Han charges at him and pressures him with his sword, before kicking him in the gut, making him throw up. Jenna asks if he's going too hard, but Han replies he won't take on any burdens. Questioning whether Aaron has family, he then asks him what would happen if he didn't go back, telling him if he doesn't have the desire to survive, it's better to get synthesized than killed by monsters, and not to start something he can't finish. Staring each other in the eyes, Han smirks and says he likes to look in Aaron's eyes. Seeing anything build a blacksmith's forge, Han calls out to Cell and asks if she can use the internet, and she replies she can, as it's her hobby after all. Noting the tips that she used were probably from the strategy forum, he then recites the tip in its entirety. She questions how he knows it, and Han says it was posted by Loki. Cell reveals that she is a massive Loki fan and thinks he'd be rank 1 if he had a 7-star hero, explaining that he is someone who makes the impossible possible. Continuing to ramble on about Loki, Han interrupts her saying he feels sorry for her, which grabs her attention, before revealing with a smile that he is Loki. If you enjoyed the vid, like, sub, and comment below. Peace.